Greetings, viewers. This is A Vision Entertainment once again, and I'm your host, Tommy Slaughter. We have a special guest. This man is Omar Gooding, aka Big O.
I got an attitude too, and I ain't an attitude dude. But if you mad at him and I fucks with you, then I'm mad at dude too. But why we mad at this nigga? Never mind, you can tell me later, because I got your back. Now let's get back to these haters.
AKA
Talk to him.
Billionaire, AKA, he got a lot of AKAs. And he's here on the show right now, man. We're going to talk some good stuff here. We're going to walk down memory lane, bring it up in the middle, and take it home. That's how we're going to do that. Right? So how you feeling anyway, man? You good?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. God is good. Feeling blessed. Highly favored. You know what I'm talking about?
In addition to your successful acting career, you also excelled as a producer, writer, and hip-hop artist, releasing your first solo album under the moniker Big O.
Yo, hypocrisy's got to me. It's got to be something better than bitches and cheddar and glorified mediocrity.
You know what I mean? I can't wait to get into that. And receive critical acclaim for your role as Sweet Pea and Baby Boy, of course. The late John Singleton.
Draw back. Not too far, though. And for the nose, I'm out. Preferably the nose. This is soft.
Preferably, huh?
Nigga, you know what I mean.
Yes, sir.
You have many more going on, man. I just wanted to also get into, your parents, just short, former lead singer of Main Ingredients.
Everybody plays the fool sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, my father was Cuba Gooding.
That's
Gooding
right.
of the Main Ingredient. Everybody plays the fool. Yes, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's right. What was it like growing up in a household with famous parents and a brother, who was doing big things also?
I thought it was normal to me, man. A lot of singing, a lot of smiles and happiness. I was a youngster, so like everything that was going on around me that was heavy didn't really hit me until I got, into my latter years. You know what I mean? My father had a full career. He had a hit single out that everybody plays the full joint, and then he went out to Africa and came back and got blacklisted for going out to Africa. So he had to start over. So it sent us all, my mother, my sister, my brother, myself. We were in California at the time. So, my pops kind of went back to New York to start over his career and go chase the bag, so to speak. And my brother knew he always wanted to follow in my father's footsteps the best that he could, but he didn't have a voice. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, acting. I'm going to become an actor. And, he took acting classes, went to workshops, so forth and so on, got him an agent. And then I kind of, I had a 10-year gap between the two of us. So for me, I just followed him right on in there, got an agent with him. I got his same agent. She sent me out on stuff. She was sending him out on stuff, man. I booked a movie called Ghost Dad. I had a first big movie.
No. It's you I want to talk to. See, I know that you're an alien.
I remember that. Yeah.
You remember Ghost Dad, you know what I'm saying? And then he did Boys in the Hood, and then he took off, you know what I'm saying? And I really concentrated on the television. You know what I mean? So I was booking a lot of TV shows.
Yeah, like
Crazy
90s.
Kid, Hangin With Mr. Cooper, Smart Guy.
Right,
I was rocking through the 90s, baby. Yes, sir. And then I got that call from John Singleton. It changed everything, bro.
That changed the whole way for you, man. When you go back to the 90s with Wild and Crazy Kid, Smart Guy, Hangin With Mr. Cooper, Saturdays and One-on-One, right?
Come on.
Now, what inspired you to pursue an acting? I know you just talked about your parents, but what inspired you to pursue an acting career, and how did it get started?
It was a matter of necessity for us financially, but my brother had it as the goal. It was what he was going to do. He had his heart set on it. He's 19, 20 years old. I was 9. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it wasn't like I had to think of a career choice. It's just it kind of, you are what you are. It's been in the blood. It was in the family. You know what I mean? So when I picked up the script, they sent me out on an audition. I had 2 auditions in one day, and I booked one of them, so I was bit after that. Usually you don't book that fast. You know what I mean? I don't know how many my brother went on until he actually booked something. But me, I went on 2 first day, bam, and I was off to the races.
It was on from there. It was on.
Mm-hmm.
Look, when you go to an audition, is it like jam-packed where they got to actually pick who's going to be the best one?
Absolutely. Auditioning. I remember auditioning back in the day, man. I don't do auditions as much anymore since I have a name. So it's mostly like I get scripts and then my agents will make the, negotiations and so forth and so on. But audition rooms usually, to be casting calls and cattle calls where that's like, they'll just say, we need a kid. And it'll be, 50, 60 kids of every age, different color and shape, so I'd have to get in there and really do my thing. and find a way to stand out. You know what I mean? So I was the king of auditioning rooms. You know what I mean? I had a pattern down. I'd get in there and look and see how everybody else was dressed and be like, nope, I got to go outside and change what I got on.
When you go back to Hangin With Mr. Cooper, which was a favorite show, and Philly, I'm in Philly, so we watch that all the time. Can you share some memorable experiences?
Hangin With Mr. Cooper was fun, man. It was a pivotal moment in my life because I had a life. I wasn't like an actor's kid or like a Hollywood kid. So I had kids around me that could fight. You know what I'm saying? And I hung with, I wouldn't say like a bad crowd. It was just real. Growing up in the streets of LA. I had one evening where I went out and we got pulled over because we were going to go into a nightclub and I had a bunch of guns in the car. And one of the valet dudes saw it and called the cops, and they pulled us over in front of the club and got all crazy, and I was in jail for like, I don't know, a day. Well, bailed out the next day. It's not like I was out there shooting. The guns weren't dirty or nothing, but I almost lost my whole career. Yeah, and I almost lost my whole career behind it. Mark Curry called me to his house and sat me down and told me what I needed to do to save it, which was own it. Go back to set on Monday, apologize, stand up like a man, you know what I mean? Take full responsibility for how I made the whole show look, myself look, and my family, and let them know nothing like that would ever happen again. And it didn't. You know what I mean? Kept my nose clean and was able to stay off of the virtual TMZ, if you would.
That's right. Did they give you probation for that?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Couldn't own or purchase a gun for like 5-6 years, something like that.
Okay. Wow. Let's get into hip hop, man.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
What initially inspired you to pursue a rap career in addition to acting? How did that switch happen?
Well, my family, like I said, my parents were entertainers, both of them. My mother had a singing career. She was a recording artist with the Sweethearts and the Lovables, a group back from Harlem. Right. So her and my father both had recording contracts. So it was in the blood. It wasn't like a far stretch. But my era was and is hip hop. If I was born 10 years earlier, like my brother, then I'd probably be more into like R&B and so forth and so on. But my era was rap. You know what I'm saying? Being born in the 70s, raised in the 80s and 90s. And I've always loved the creativity of hip hop. So I'd been in and out of rap groups. I love groups. You know what I mean? So like you had mentioned earlier, I didn't drop a solo album until I was until 2019. Yeah, I mean, that was the first time I actually dropped a solo joint. And before that, I've been in rap groups because I like the idea of a couple guys, different styles rapping, and then I come at the end and be like, blow the whole spot up type of thing, So, but once I had a kid in 2017 and my father passed, I really just kind of kicked it into higher gear. You know what I mean? I said, all right, man, I can't be playing around and having it kind of like a hobby. I got something to get off my chest. I got something that's in me. It's time to give it to the world.
When I heard, I went and heard Hold On Me, Dills, Fix Your Mouth. That's I got to talk about Fix Your Mouth. Your lyrics, man, your lyrics is dope, right? And it's like, where were you, man? Like that's what we need. Right. Because it's like you don't have that right now. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the current state?
Right now, I think it's the current state of hip hop. I think it's the timing is everything. You know what I mean? Because I've been here. I had cats tell me that a couple years back, like, man, you holding back the West Coast, man. What's going on with you? You better release this music. and I don't think it's just the timing. We kind of gotta let things work themselves out. I mean, it's kind of like with the acting, where I was in a lot of television, then I did some movies, and then I kind of went back to television. I did a series called Family Time, 91 episodes, and that, it kept me good. I was able to stay home, you know what I mean, raise my kids type of thing, and just kind of stay put. After Big and Pac died, it felt like it kind of went to party music. Kids got a little scared, you know what I mean, and then it got too much. Now the kids started dying anyway because they popping pills and ODing and doing too much on that type of shit. So I think music got diluted a bit. I think it hasn't been taken seriously like it used to. Back in like the Pac era, you could say you were a rapper and people were like, oh wow, you rap like Tupac, like Biggie, like it held some weight. But then for about a decade or so after, just like you say you rap and people kind of snicker like, oh yeah, you do that bull, that like, nah, man, I really rap, and they don't get it. They didn't take it as seriously. But I think with the resurgence of, and I got to give my hats off to Drake. I mean, he's taken the youthfulness of it and the creativity of the old heads and combined it. And then when he bumped heads with Kendrick Lamar, it it opened up, I believe, new doors and really started a new era of real lyricism. You know, people are listening now. They're not just dancing and just putting on the song they like for whatever. They're listening and paying attention to lyrics. And I'm just like, oh, it is time. You know what I mean? They're ready now. You know what I mean? So
and
I
the
got an
timing
album
is
coming
right.
out.
That's right. So that's right.
Yeah, I think the timing is right. So I've been playing a lot of my music for DJs and cats from my era and cats from this era. Even the youngsters is listening, going, okay,
Yeah.
get
It's
bars
banging.
there. And I'm just like, yeah.
That's right. It's banging. You have bars, and you've mentioned what I read where you've mentioned pursuing a gangster career, a gangster rap career in the past. Can you tell us more about that period and the influences that shaped your music during that time?
I mean, you know, I've done a gangster movie, you know what I'm saying, Baby Boy, but it's
Yeah.
never been gangster rap. I mean, like
Gangster rap.
you know, like I did an album with Sibo, right,
That's
called
right.
Trading
See,
War
bro,
Stories. We were
that
signed to
was
the
me.
West Coast Mafia, yeah.
Right.
But even then, if you listen to my lyrics, it wasn't like I was gangbanging. You know what I mean? It was just one of those things where, you know, I was able to rap hard. I mean, I can. It was funny. We went through this the Budweiser Best of the West Superfest on the West Coast, right? Which is all
Oh
you
wow.
competing with all of the rappers, all the
Yeah.
underground rappers on the West Coast, but they didn't allow you to curse. So we had to find a way to sound aggressive and hip hop and be creative without profanity.
Yeah.
And I could go after any rapper, and you couldn't tell whether or not I was cursing or not. You was like, "This is hard. This boy slapping," you know. So we
Right.
developed, and it helped us be more creative. You know what I mean? So when you hear rap that has a lot of profanity or too much slang or whatever the case is, and it gets confusing, you'd be like, well, they must have run out of ideas. They just, you know, just start cursing. It's that type of thing.
That's
Like when
right.
I do my comedy, it's the same thing. I can do adult comedy or I can do clean comedy, and they're
That's right.
both going to be hysterical. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? Because there's certain words you could use and you use them for, you know, to a
Yeah.
point. It's
Yeah.
kind of
Certain
funny when you
words.
raise kids and they're like, why are there bad words? I'm like, well, some words need to be said, son. They just kind of hit. They hit different, you know what I mean? But they for adults. You'll figure that out when you get older. You know
Yeah,
what I
when
mean?
you're a
That
little
type of
older, you'll figure it out when you get older.
that
Well,
part.
and you also released Big Excuse. I want to see that album. I know it was maybe it was.
Yeah. So the excuse was the first one that I released my solo joint. Like I said, my father had just passed. I just became a father myself, you know, and there's some songs on there like Better Me, which was a double dedicated song to both my father and my son. You know, and the excuse title track where I play a reporter. You know, I wrote a verse as a reporter asking me questions about
Yeah,
pretty much kind of like what we're talking about here, which was just like, where has this been? Like, why is it taking you so long to put music out? I'm like,
yeah.
well, you know. And then the album was solid. It was produced by Focus, which I had taken it down and I found out that it's still available. So it's
Oh,
good to know that y'all
okay.
can
Yeah,
still go hear that
yeah.
album. Yeah. Yeah, the excuse. And then I put one out called Succession, produced by Keys the Mogul
Succession.
Ellis. Last year, yeah, Succession. And I dropped these albums. I'm having a pattern of dropping on my birthday. So this next album that I'm finishing, which is so explosive, I'm eager to drop it. I have a tentative date of August that I want to put it out. But what I may do is take my time and put it out on October 19th, which is my birthday. And then that'll be the pattern for me, always dropping something on my birthday. So I have something extra to celebrate. And my fans have something to look forward to and they know exactly when.
That's banging. That's banging. You also had your son on Big Excuse also. You know, I think he was
Yeah.
laughing or yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy, man. I had him I was listening to a song, I was writing music, and I had him in my lap, and we
Yeah.
put these noise canceling headphones on his ears while I
Yeah.
was writing.
Yeah.
And then I talked to him. I said, "You like the music?" And he started laughing, and it was the first time we had ever heard him laugh.
Good
And
time.
his mom put in the camera right at him, and we recorded that. So I used that sound bite to start the song off, so it's touching.
That was
But
banging.
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Can you just give me just a short, brief story or history of Fix Your Mouth and what happened between you and Cameron at that time?
I'm a problem. Don't be trying to poke the bear, spit like I ain't got shit to lose. Nigga, I'm down to take it there. I don't know why you playing. You not a killer, man. Like Kenny showed us, there's plenty of ways to kill a man.
Yeah, we're looking at the time here. So Pete, this is what it was. Basically, you know, my name is Omar Gooding, and some people, because my brother's name is Cuba Gooding Jr., think
Right.
that my name is Omar Gooding Jr., which is just I get it. I try not to make fun of people because I get it. I get where they're thinking at. Oh, Omar Gooding and Cuba Gooding Jr. Oh, Omar Gooding Jr. Like, that's not how juniors work, bro. That's no.
Okay.
So the problem was, Cameron went on his show and he interviewed 50 Cent. And while he's interviewing 50 Cent, he's speaking about me. And he brings up and he says, Omar Gooding Jr. and Ving Rhames, those type of actors are sitting around waiting for 50 Cent to give them work. Now, for one, you called first of all, you said my name wrong. Yeah. Second of all, you talked all the way out your face thinking I'm sitting around waiting on anybody. I got so much junk moving, it's crazy. You know what I mean? So I initially put a post up about it and I said to my fans and my followers, what do y'all think? And I let the comments kind of take over. But as a lyricist, as an MC, I just wrote some songs. You know what I mean? So I did another interview where I told them songs and they were like, when we gonna hear them? I'm like, say less. So I recorded them and then I released one of them. So then when I released the first one, it went viral, went crazy. People were like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you rapped." Oh, you talking about Cameron? Wait a minute. It kind of got turned from clickbait into one, you know.
Yeah.
That was Fix Your Mouth 1. And when I dropped Fix Your Mouth 1, the blogs took a hold of it. You know, I've been doing music for as long as it kind of parallel to my acting career, but it hasn't been as successful, obviously. But I've never gotten a write-up from all the hip-hop blogs like that first song did. And it just went crazy. So after that happened, Cameron commented and said something like, "Oh, man, yeah." But he was like, he said, "Oh, my bad, bro," and was laughing. And I'm like, "Oh, you laughing?" He said, "Yeah, I don't want no smoke." So I said, "Okay. You don't want no smoke, you still go get hot, my nigga." And that's what made me write part 2.
Part 2.
So I wrote part 2, and then pretty much we thought that was it. But he since responded on his show and had a whole segment about me, and then he did a couple of Freestyle Fridays or whatever that he has on his little segment, and he spit some stuff. So I just kind of laughed it off. And, you know, I actually did a part 3 and I put it out and then I took it down. I felt like it was overkill. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, let's leave it alone. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, though, with all of that, you know, it was great publicity for me. You know, he got some hits on his situation, so I know it was, you know, some good clickbait for him. And you know, he fixed his mouth. He says my name correctly now, and you know, that is something big for me. You know, my name is my name, so I do feel pride about it. But I also do stand-up comedy, and I push the line the same way, so they get it. Yeah, brother. But I appreciate you having me on, man. And if, you know, I think we should do this again. And second time around, we can answer a little bit more questions to get a little deeper, because I got this album I'm dropping. I got a movie coming out. I got a series that I'm doing. I got a lot of stuff to promote. After walking down this memory lane with you, man, I'm ready to tell you about the future. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, let's do it again, man. Peace. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
Okay. Stay blessed. You got it.